As somebody that has been working with literature and languages for so many years, my passion for literature has always taken over whenever I'm able to sit and read something for fun. As a teacher, I'm always reading things just because I have to prepare the materials because I'm going to teach them. But right now, I've been so honored to read the first few chapters of a book a friend of mine is writing. I really enjoy reading living authors for a variety of reasons, one of them being that you have access to them, where you can ask for whatever type of symbolic value their words might have, what stories were based on this or that. Is this a reference to this? Is it? Does the lily symbolize something? Instead of being one of those literature teachers that says, oh, the red on that table symbolized the girl's first period, or and then you read something that the author wrote about that passage, and the red table was red because you like red. So I want to be somebody who is able to give authenticity to the class that I'm teaching. If I'm teaching a certain book, I want to have as many references from the actual author, not things that somebody said, the author said, something that is really coming from the author. So I'm going to do a little bit of literary analysis of a book called I Can't Find God by TJN Roseberry. The book is an autobiography and it is told as an autobiography. Oftentimes, writers will write a book about themselves, but they tell it in the third person. And when that happens, well, that's just my opinion. When that happens, a reader like me will feel, okay, but if it's his life, then how come he's saying he? He's doing that. He was that. And why can't he talk from within? And the author here does exactly that. He tells the story from his point of view. So here we have a first person omniscient narrator to the story. As soon as I saw the title, I Can't Find God, I was already intrigued. Nowadays, there is a lot of talk about religion or the lack of religion. Is God a male or a female? What is the value of organized religion? So, as soon as I saw that title, I wanted to know, will this character in this book find God or not? Am I going to go on the journey with this character and figure this out with him? How is this going to be? I'm going to read a passage that I really, really liked, and I'm going to analyze it a little bit. Chapter 1, Teddy. When I was a kid, we had multiple family dogs. We had the queen of all animals, Shaquille. Shaquille, the Chow Lab mix, who redefined loyalty and love for our family and glued us together her entire life. She was a magnificent creature with an unparalleled maternal instinct, an unquestionable judge of character, and a viscous maw surrounded by the thickest coat of impenetrable fur I have ever seen. But this story isn't about Shaquille. It's about Teddy. Teddy, the black curly-haired cocker spaniel, the 217-year-old rescue with a heart of gold and an anus of old bungee cords. He was the sweetest boy. He loved me so much and followed me around and fetched and farted like a coal engine burning salt diapers. He would fart himself awake and then walk away from the horrendous smell of his last remaining days, being vaporized and launched out of his rectum, clearing humans and animals away and killing all remaining life. As a kid, I didn't care about the smell. The fart sounded mixed with the ensuing laughter, and Teddy's surprise at his own gastrointestinal release was a beautiful summer soundtrack. My parents had recently gotten divorced, and my father was understandably devastated. My sisters had moved with my mom. My dad and I were bachelors, and I loved it. I didn't know we were poor. I didn't understand why the government would drop off boxes of cheese and beans on our porch. I didn't know what the divorce was doing to my dad and the financial debacle it had exacerbated. I didn't know it wasn't normal to share socks and underwear with your dad because you owned 11 socks and 5 pairs of underwear between the two of you. I knew my dad wanted me to be there. We were a team, and we could handle anything the world could throw at us. I always felt loved and protected, even when I wasn't. So, here in this chapter, what caught my attention the most is how genuine the words sound. Because here you have the personification of this dog. Personification is a literary figure where you attribute human qualities to either an object or an animal. And here, this is not just a dog. Teddy is a member of the family, a friend, a brother, somebody very close to our main character. And you can feel it. It's coming from the heart of a child. So that's why the graphic descriptions are so fitting. This is something I also really liked. I love the hyperbole. I might be saying it wrong. I might be saying it wrong. I get nervous. I say some things in a weird way, but I'm gonna look it up right now. There's no shame of not knowing something. Just go look for it. See, in Portuguese it's called hyperbole, but in English it's called hyperbole. So I was saying it wrong. So I like the hyperbole, which is a figure of. I love literary figures so much because they give you imagery. And here, by exaggerating and giving graphic details, you bring everybody who's reading, you bring your readers closer to what you're trying to say. And you totally feel that this is a child telling the story. This is the author as a child going back to his childhood years and telling the story of how it felt, of what he knew and what he didn't know. So this chapter starts already introducing us to who Teddy is. And we're introduced to Teddy by knowing that this family had lots of different dogs. And I really love how we hear about Shaquille, and then the author immediately tells us, but this is not about Shaquille, this is about Teddy. So, already in the first paragraph of that first chapter, you already know what the chapter is about, who Teddy is. In the second paragraph, I started to form an image of Teddy, how I see Teddy. I happen to know the author, so I kind of, when the author describes himself, not physically but personally, I I try to put that image into a child version of who the author is now. But to somebody who doesn't know the author up until now, you only know his soul as a child, and how he's navigating this very difficult part of his life, which already here, the second paragraph is very descriptive of the dog, so we can form a mental picture of what the dog looks like. And then in the third paragraph, the author talks about his parents' divorce. And it's not something that comes lightly into the narrative. And the use of words such as devastated. So he was understandably devastated. So when, and this is interesting because as a child, for you to see that a parent is devastated, how do you perceive that? So, what a powerful image that is when the author talks about his father being devastated. But then he talks about how his sisters moved with his mom and he was living with his dad. So here he romanticizes it. We were bachelors and I loved it. Of course, as difficult as everything might have been, as a child, there is a part of you that's a little bit Pollyanna about situations. And I'm referencing Pollyanna from the Eleanor H. Porter books, Pollyanna and Pollyanna Grows Up. Yes, I was named after the character in the book. She was overly optimistic. And as children, our fantasy world sometimes tends to go in. I'm going to latch on to everything that's positive about this situation so that I can navigate through it. I'm not going to give too much away, but I will do more videos where I will explore more. I don't want to make a very long video, but this has been literary analysis of the book I Can't Find God. I, like I said, I love reading living authors very much. And I've been honored that TJN Roseberry has given me this to read.